What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about AMC, GME, as well as the overall broader market. After that, we're going to check the options flow for all three of them. So today, AMC was down for 3.81% for the day. It had a high of $15.57. The average volume on AMC is around 42.22 million, but today's volume was around 20.57 million, which has gone down significantly. It seems to be like it's getting some sort of a flop show just because there is no good sentiment that is coming towards the overall broader market. Everything is negative out there. The inflation is rooftop. Now we're going to have the GDP number coming on this Thursday, which is definitely going to be indicating that we are already in a recession. Now something ridiculous happened over the weekend when the White House came out and they claimed that the if the second quarter of the GDP is in negative, it's still not a recession. Now they're trying their level best to fool the people out there that they believe into what they are saying, which has been same from the starting itself when they said the inflation is going to be transitory, and now it's turning to be a very serious issue in the economy. Now the same thing is going to happen with the GDP as well. Now let's come over to the GameStop. Now GameStop was down for 5.03% for the day. It had a high of $35.51. The average volume on GameStop is around 13.97 million, but today's volume was around 5.68 million. Again, in GameStop as well, the volume has died down significantly. It has gone almost the half of the average volume. Now, after the split, we haven't seen any kind of a significant action happening in the GameStop, but we never know. It's all about having a momentum or any news coming towards the overall broader market or to the company. But for the meanwhile, it seems to be like we are going to go down from here onwards. Now let's come over to the SPY. Now SPY was surprisingly up for 0.12% for the day. It had a high of $396.47. Now as we already know that the market has been going up every day, even on the baddest of the baddest news out there, inflation going over 9.1%, which was the biggest negative news out there. Still the market ran up. Today in the aftermarket, Walmart went down almost 10%, and it's affecting the other retail based stock. Amazon was also down for 3.87% in the aftermarket. Target is also down 5.39% in the aftermarket. Walmart share dropped more than 8% in extended trading Monday after the retailer lowered its quarterly and full year profit forecast, citing sharply rising food inflation that is hurting consumer spending on general merchandise. Other major retailers slide on the back of Walmart announcement, with Target declining 5% and Amazon down 4%. Macy's and Dollar General each fell 3%, while Costco sheds 2%. Now, this is a very big red flag that just came out, and I personally believe we're going to be bombarded with the negative news this week, and it's going to get extremely volatile. But the way these companies are coming out and making this statement, which can actually shock the market towards the downside. Now we just have to wait and see how this is going to play out, but it seems to be like gonna get anything positive from here onwards. Now let's come over to the option flow for the AMC. Now we increase the premium to max and see what exactly the whales are doing. Now this whale was buying a call option, which doesn't make any sense because right now we don't have any kind of a solid support or any momentum coming into the overall broader market. So AMC might suffer a little bit more towards the downside. Now when I bring down the premium a little bit more and see what exactly the mini whale and the retails are doing, now majority of them are again onto the downside. Now when I bring up the put to call ratio, it shows me that it's exactly 50-50 put to call ratio. Now the volume was a little bit slight bit higher onto the call side. The premiums are better on the put side. And by looking at the options flow, there is nothing which is majorly suspicious that is coming out of it, but I can say it's almost 50-50. A lot of individuals are buying call options, and big money is also buying some put options as well on AMC. Now, if I want to buy any position from here onwards in AMC, I would not go for any call option because it seems to be like the overall broader market is not going to be any favor for any of these stocks out there. Now let's come over to the option flow for the GameStop. Now I've increased the premium to max and see what exactly the whales are doing. Now this whale was buying this $35 call option, which is a slight bit out of the money, and it's going to expire in 3 days, and he's paying $113,000 for it. That's a very risky bet, especially after receiving a very negative news in the aftermarket. It seems to be like this person is going to have some serious damage because it's basically out of the money, and secondly it's going to expire in 3 days. There is going to be a very solid theta on this option, or we might experience some sort of upward momentum into the market as we open, and then this individual might close his position, but it's a very risky bet. Now, when I bring down the premium a little bit more further and see what exactly the mini whales and the retail are doing, now majority of them are again onto the downside. Now there was 56% on the put side and 44% onto the call side. The volume was pretty heavy onto the call side. The premium are pretty good on the call side as well. But by looking at the options flow, there was nothing majorly suspicious coming out of it. Now let's come over to the options flow for the SPY. Now I've increased the premium to max and see what exactly the whales are doing. Now by looking at the whale options flow, it seems to be like there was nothing majorly suspicious coming out of it. Usually the bets are in 20 million and 30 million, but there was nothing coming out of the SPY today. Most likely what the big institutional money is waiting for is the earning tomorrow from Alphabet and Microsoft, because these are the big companies in the overall stock market, and if they indicate some sort of a negative news out of their company that they might not be hiring more people or they have to cut down on their guidance for the next quarter, that gonna drag down the overall broader market along with it. That's what all I can think of right now. That's why there are no big money coming into the SPY today. Usually it's on a regular day there is a 10-15 million dollar bet, but today there was nothing towards the downside. Option flow that I'm looking right now is just the regular individuals, those who are betting towards the downside, majority of them, but there is nothing majorly suspicious coming out of it. Now when I bring down the premium a little bit more further and see what exactly the mini whales are doing, majority of them are again onto the downside. Now when I bring up the put to call ratio, you can see it for yourself. 66% is onto the downside, 34% is onto the upside. The volume was pretty heavy onto the put side. It's almost 85%. The premiums are pretty good onto the put side as well. Now by looking into the macro conditions that we are into the overall economy right now, it seems to be like there is nothing good out there that we can celebrate right now towards the upside for the overall broader market, but there are some individuals still betting for some sort of upward momentum coming into the market from here onwards, but majority of them are onto the downside. Now let's come over to the VIX. Now this is the volatility index, which is basically calling up for a bigger move towards the upside. Now I didn't find anything suspicious in the option flow for the VIX, but I did find something in the option flow for the UVXY. Now this is the option flow for the UVXY. Now this $11 call option is going to expire in 10 days. This individual is buying 3,802 contracts and is paying $395,000 for it. And there was this another individual that was buying $12 call option that is going to expire in 10 days, and he's buying 2,965 contract and he's paying $190,000 for it. That's a lot of money that these individuals are betting towards the upside for the UVXY. Now UVXY has already gone up a slight bit, 1.22% in the aftermarket after the news that came out from Walmart. And by looking at the VIX today as well, it did bounce off a little bit and then it cooled down a slight bit to 23.35. Now I personally believe this week is going to be the deciding week. We might experience some significant upward momentum coming into the VIX from here onwards. Now we just have to wait and see how this is going to play out. Hope so you like my video. Please like and subscribe my channel, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Cheers.